What's going on, y'all? This is your boy G Class. We down here, man. We had the opportunity to leave Atlanta and go to Dallas, Texas and film the State of the Black Church. This was an event where a lot of pastors from various churches and community leaders came together to discuss how can the black church be ahead of the black community again. So y'all, man, check out this footage, man. We promise you a treat. You're watching Reflections of You.
Our modern day prophets testify to our frustrations and our perplexities. They bear witness to our anxieties and our longings. They tap into our communal archive of memory. There have only been 26 days of peace, only 26 days of no armed fighting, only 26 days of no human combat, only 26 days without military battles somewhere on this planet since 1945. Every 32 seconds, about the time it takes us to walk to the kitchen and put the coffee on, an American baby is born into poverty. Every 2 minutes, a child is sexually abused and violated in the U.S. of A. Every 14 minutes, while we shower and brush our teeth, a baby dies in America.
Will not be able to get a job. 1/3 of every African-American male will spend some time either in prison, on parole, or on probation. So our challenge, our responsibility is not only to speak truth to power, but in a real sense to speak truth to those who are powerless. And speak to a black church that says it is our responsibility to no longer content ourselves just to mop up the mess, but we have a responsibility to address the faucet. The faucet, again, has to do with issues of justice. How do we do that? I give you two, and I'm done. Number one, we must deliver the church today from a right-wing hermeneutic that has poisoned our homiletic.
I greet you in the spirit of the 16-year-old boy who's questioning his sexual identity. Had unprotected sex with a man, HIV positive. Doesn't go to youth ministry anymore. Hasn't told his parents. Not in care. He says there's nobody in the church that he can trust with his burden. The young wife who found her husband's HIV meds in the truck didn't even know he was positive. So now she's undergoing testing because she's not sure if she or her baby are going to wind up positive. I greet you this afternoon in the spirit of the 750,000 Americans who have died of HIV and AIDS, and most of them were gay and African American. I greet you this way because God called me to stand today because they could not. I greet you this day because the people in our pews and our churches would rather die than live one day with the stigma of HIV and AIDS. I stand today to speak a hard and bitter truth on their behalf. The truth is that the church, rather than liberating these oppressed people, has marginalized, has shunned, has ostracized, has persecuted, has shamed and blamed, has judged and oppressed the oppressed.
In Atlanta, Georgia, who are taping this event in order to channel it so there can be a forum and a discussion about this in Atlanta. So the conversation that we're having is not held in a vacuum, but it's spreading like a fire across this nation. You have cards on your table and there are students ready to pick up those cards with your burning questions to the panel entirely or a specific panelist. Students are moving quickly.
One of the reasons I believe that I left that tradition, or I was so frustrated with that tradition, is, if I may use that kind of language, is that is not the way in which I felt God had ever worked with me. I was never one of those I never was knocked out. I pretended to be knocked out, but I was never knocked out.
Because of a certain kind of sense of standoffishness or respectability, the black church has failed to go into the pits of despair and pain and poverty. Oftentimes, even if the church is in a neighborhood that's poor and underprivileged, it wants to act as if it's above it or beyond it. Right? The church has to break down its walls in every capacity, both real and figurative, to reach out to the people around it.
About this issue because we are disproportionately filling up the prison industrial complex, and if you follow the money, you'll soon discover that it's become privatized. It's even traded on Wall Street. And so as a consequence, it's really about making money, and it's the 21st century version of slavery. James Baldwin made this statement that has changed my approach to ministry. James Baldwin says the most dangerous person in the world is that person who has nothing to lose. Yeah.
Do we need to know if somebody is gay or lesbian to talk about how HIV is transmitted? Do we need to know if somebody sleeps with a man or a woman in order to make resources available to them? Do we need to know?